From ITC Voices, from Tim Woolworth, who's
tonight's show and topic of discussion. The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high. Get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, May 5th, Monday, May 6th for those of you on the East Coast and beyond. And this is Spaced Out Radio. I hope you guys had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live tonight from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, UPRN 99.1 FM, WQEE 107.7, KZFX FM 93.7, tune in KDune Radio at 10:30 a.m. as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the Encounter Online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know our friend Mr. Bill Hauser, aka Candoey. He's an independent paranormal researcher and investigator. He was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and he lives in the West Coast, particularly in the city of Surrey, BC. A well-rounded investigator and researcher using different types of equipment on paranormal investigations in different locations. Paranormal activities are things that he is so passionate to do. He has dedicated and committed himself to ghost hunting for over 18 years now. And yes, he has his own personal paranormal experiences, but fearfulness didn't stop him yet. It was his key to widen his horizons, discover new things, quest to find real answers, and help others deal with paranormal concerns. Digital, night vision, and full-spectrum video cameras are products of modern technology that makes paranormal investigation and research easier to him. At present, he is focusing his research of paranormal phenomena, asking questions to spirits using the following devices. EVPs, which are electronic voice phenomena with digital recorder and special featured programs. Spirit Box, Ghost Box, and known as Frank Box are samples of controversial electronic devices that he uses. This electronic device called ITC, which is Instrumental Transcommunication, and it is a device used for two-way real-time spirit communication, which gives great results upon asking questions. For the record, all of Bill's YouTube videos that have done and posted are filmed in RAW, no alterations. He did networking with other paranormal organizations on current paranormal issues and been invited to numerous radio programs to share information about different techniques on how you should do proper ethics of research in his type of field. Hey Bill, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
So how's life been treating you? How's the family? How's BC?
Well, everything's doing well. I'm enjoying my retirement now since I retired last year, and I've been very active in doing investigations and stuff, so I'm having a great time, and also doing a lot of work with the Ghost Box as well.
That's awesome, and I was excited to hear that you have just recently picked up some new Ghost Boxes. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, basically the Clowler ITC, it's called. I picked that up not too long ago, and I've been experimenting with it. It's not a bad radio. It has some limitations, but however, it has some promising aspects that I'm going to keep working on.
That's awesome. So what are some paranormal investigations or paranormal activity you've had going on lately?
Well, again, I don't really like to talk about individual situations with clients and stuff on investigations, but however, I have had some interesting results from that. But on my own personal side, I've had some interesting stuff that has been given through the Ghost Box that I've posted up on Facebook. Some of them are even from my podcast that I do about once a month approximately.
Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, well, the last one I posted was basically it's been a lot of news about asteroids in the news lately and stuff with NASA and so on. So, however, I posed a question and got a very interesting answer back. So I thought that was really cool. They actually acknowledged that that could be a possible.
Well, that's interesting. So what sort of threat are they thinking of or talking about?
Well, generally, I just asked them, do you feel within the next 5 years, I believe the question was. Let's see, how did I word it? Basically, is there going to be a major strike in the next 5 years of an asteroid hit? And basically, it came back with a possibility. It's very possible.
Yeah, and that's no good because that could mean it's sort of like a nuclear winter and many of us being wiped out or even perhaps all of us.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's like saying on the West Coast here, when's the big earthquake? When, the big one's going to happen? We all talk about it here on the West Coast, but however, you still go on with your life day to day and you just don't dwell on those things too much because, they are pretty destructive forces of nature. But however, there are facts out there that possibly that could happen.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really hard to predict it. And people that are looking for asteroids and such in our atmosphere as far as the universe only have so much money to go towards those programs. And it's difficult for them to look at all of our skies. Only a small portion of our skies are able to be seen. Do they know what direction it's coming from?
From what I gathered, basically they have a detection system to a certain degree, but however, there's still asteroids that could get through. I mean, unless you had every 5 miles on the Earth there, guys with telescopes or however. But generally speaking, it is a threat, and they recognize it. So, they put some scenarios how they might deal with it. So that's interesting.
And what are some of the scenarios for that?
Well, of course, one would be sending a missile up, a nuclear warhead. That's one. The other ones are kinetic type devices being sent up that could possibly basically give it a nudge and move it off course, and things like that as well. So, they're doing a lot of research in that area right now.
Well, that's good. So there are a couple announcements that you wanted to make. Did you want to get into those?
Okay, I'd like to mention just the last little while recently, I've just joined a new group called Cornerstone Supernatural Paranormal Group. I'm an associated member and ITC specialist with that group, so I'm looking forward to doing a lot of great investigations. They already got me booked up for quite a ways out there into September with locations, so I'm looking forward to doing investigations with them.
Yeah, and they're very lucky to have you because you're very successful with what you do and the equipment that you have. Having you on the show, I've seen so much success with people interacting with different spirits and such that they're trying to contact, so I can see how well that's going to work for this team, and I'm excited not only for you, but for them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, so yeah, it's going to be great. Generally speaking, I still am an independent, but I like to, have some affiliation with paranormal groups, shall we say.
Yeah, and it helps to keep, you running and doing different things, and it kind of takes you out of your box as far as things that you would generally do, and puts you into other scenarios. So that's exciting.
Oh, yeah, you get to bounce different concepts of things being investigated through the paranormal and sometimes put those to use on an investigation. So, doing real things in the real field on investigations.
So before we came on, we were also discussing this particular person that keeps contacting famous people that are recently deceased, and most recently is Miss Lorraine Warren, who is a mentor, or basically someone we look up to for a large portion of us that listen to this show. Can you tell us more about this person and what's been going on with that?
Well, the person's name, he's no secret out there in the paranormal field. It's Mr. Steve Huff. He likes to contact people that have passed over who are famous, and Lorraine Warren would be definitely somebody that he would like to try to contact. So he likes to make videos and post them up on his YouTube site. And to be honest with you, I find that unethical to do that. Generally speaking, it's only a claim that you're doing that, and also you have to think of the family. Even if these people are famous, you still have to think of their family. I mean, that could be very upsetting for them in a time of grieving.
Well, yeah, it seems like when he does these things, he doesn't really wait a long time to do it. And I don't know if it's because the fresher the spirit, the easier to contact, which I don't agree with. There's been people that I've known that have passed away and they go somewhere else for a while. And then they'll come back. Sometimes they show up immediately. It just really differs with spirits. So, like you said, it's kind of a sign of disrespect as far as he's not waiting for the family to heal and giving them time for that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know Steve Huff, but however, his conduct out there that he's been doing for the last, I guess, 4 or 5 years, doing this kind of stuff approximately. I like to refer to a great article, and it's The Respect for the Dead and Lack Thereof from ITC Voices, and this is written by Tim Woolworth, who happens to be a friend of mine. And to be honest with you, I like to post this every time Huff puts a high-profile person who's passed away, who's been in the news and so on. And it's just to remind people out there that when you do this kind of ghost boxing, paparazzi-style ghost boxing, that's something I've called it in the past, you have to think of the family at the end when you're doing this. And also, generally speaking, it's like if you had a relative pass away and someone started contacting them and making claims that they contacted your grandma or whoever in your family, I don't think you'd be too happy about that. So, in posting it up on social media and so on. So, this is why I like to, let people know about this article and they can read it. And it's a good read, and Tim has done a great job in presenting it out there and making you think about these kind of aspects.
And it's true, and someone in the chat room had brought up, so it's okay to get offended when it's a celebrity but not a real person. And I'm saying no, it's kind of like when you tell a joke about, NASA accidents or the way different people, like celebrities, die and such. When you tell certain jokes, it's not funny because it's too soon. That's just like when someone passes away. Whether they're a celebrity or a normal person, doing it too soon after the death is disrespectful. Give the family and the spirit some time to heal, as well as to envelop what's going on around them.
Yeah, exactly. And just, when I think of it, I just find it very distasteful that people would do this kind of thing and then, post it up on social media and Facebook and YouTube, whatever. And just generally, I find it very disrespectful.
Yeah, it seems that way. And there's a big loss of respect when it comes to the field of paranormal and paranormal investigation. A lot of people go out and they're just looking for the thrills and such and leaving a mess for other people, when in fact you should be using respect for not only the spirit but the person that dwells either in that house or business or property. And don't take it lightly because spirits are, we're once people too, and respect is one of the key things that we use.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, going to someone's home and being disrespectful. I don't think they would appreciate it. They'd probably tell you could you leave? And so the same thing applies when you go on investigations. You should be respectful of haunted locations where you're investigating.
I totally agree. And it's really sad that people don't have that basic common sense when it comes to some things. But like you said, you go to someone's house and you're disrespectful, you're bound to get kicked out. Or, get a good ass chewing. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover as far as the new ghost boxes that you had, or this individual that keeps sharing these things on the internet? Which I feel like when he does that, he's not thinking about the individual or their family. He's just looking at himself, his ego, and trying to build that up.
Yeah, you hit it right on the spot. It's all about, your own ego and generally, whatever he's doing with his business side and all that, that's his business. But however, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you have to show some respect in the field. And that's, what I want to convey to people, how I like to do that myself and hopefully other people.
Very true. So, you were telling me about your new ghost boxes, some that you feel should be used just for personal paranormal investigation, and some that you feel would work best for what we're going to do tonight as far as trying to contact spirits and such.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to be using tonight is the codeless box 25, and it's going to be hooked up to the spirit speaker, and that's a specialized speaker that has an echo effect and reverb. So that one is built by David Cartrell. He's done a great job building it. So it's kind of like that concept of a portal, but again, it has its unique sound, and I definitely went with that particular, speaker, amplifying speaker. And of course, the Codeless Box 25, that's built by Mark Codeless, and he's from the UK, so he's doing a great job doing his work building ghost boxes. And the other one I'm going to be using tonight will be the direct link, what I use on Dave's show when I do shows with him. and that's built by Jay Prather of IDC Devices. And his devices, some of his work that he's been doing lately, he's actually had some of it featured on Ghost Adventures, so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool when somebody like that, and generally it's not, the members of Ghost Adventure themselves, it's the producer that gets a hold of you to bring you on the show and to use your different technology, what an honor for him to be able to use his technology, whether being experimental or not, on certain shows. That's pretty epic.
Yeah, that's great. Considering his ghost boxes are the very first ghost boxes that is being used on the show. Before that, it's just been the PSB-7 and the PSB-11. So that's quite an accomplishment for a ghost box builder like himself to have that featured on that show.
Yeah, it's super cool. And for people out there that are paranormal investigators themselves, can you give us a way to contact these individual makers of ghost boxes?
Yeah, well, with IDC Devices, just put idcdevices.com, and that'll take you to Jay's website. And with Mark Codless there, he has a website, but I can't remember offhand there. But however, if you put it into Google, Mark Codless, you'll come up with quite a bit of stuff about him. And I know he's quite active on social media and so on.
Well, that's awesome. It's good for them to be able to stay in the game, because social media these days, if you don't stay on top of it, you miss out on a lot of stuff. But dang, I'm sure he's not really worried about it, because, he's got a big name out there and his stuff is being used. So for everybody out there that's listening to the show tonight, if you would like to call in and ask a question to the Ghost Box, the number is 970-335-9596. That's 970-335-9596. Bill, before we do the Ghost Box, would you like to take us through some processes as far as ways to protect ourselves?
Well, I would suggest, basically, however you like to do your own protection, that's up to you. But, say a prayer or whatever, or just an acclamation or whatever, or have your favorite crystal near you, or incense. I like to do a lot of incense at my house, so I do things like that. And then, before the show tonight, I did a little prayer ahead of time that you and I would be safe in the process of conducting live Ghost Box sessions.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you doing that. So everyone out there, before we get started with this, if you could take a moment, get your stuff ready, get your shields up, your bubbles of light, whatever you use, prayers, crystals, different crosses, whatnot, whatever you use for protection, put that into effect, because even just listening to the show, I've heard from a couple individuals can actually cause things to happen, because you bringing it into your house and into your mind, and allowing that to enter. So make sure you protect yourself. And like I said, if you'd like to call in, the number is 970-335-9596. So Bill, is there anything else you wanted to cover before we get into using these ghost boxes?
Yeah, I'd like to say about protection that people, if they do protection, believe in it. Number one, that's one of the key factors, is believing in it for you to work. So that's the state, is having faith.
Yeah, it's very true. You have to have faith in what you're doing and what it can do for you. You can't just say, well, I'm going to use this and do it willy-nilly and expect it to work. That's not really how it works. So whatever you have faith in, whether it's yourself, an inner power, a higher being, whatever for protection, would be great to use right now. So what is the first experimental radio that we'll be using this evening?
Well, I'd like to do a little just a sample run so people can understand between the two radios I'm using tonight what they sound like. So we'll start with the direct link. I'll turn it on here. Hello? Who would like to talk to us? We're on a radio show tonight. You're welcome to communicate with us. Sorry about that, I accidentally turned it off. Could I get a name, please?
It's a person.
How are you? You don't have to worry, we come in peace to communicate with you.
This is in the water.
You wish to talk to me? Where are you right now? Are we happy tonight? Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay, that's the first radio there. Now we're going to go to codeless box 25. This one has the echo effect. How are you tonight? You have a message for us? We're on a radio show. Do you have a message? How many active spirits around this neighborhood are you in? There more than 8? You know their names? What message do you have for us? You have a message for us? I doubt it. Why? Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Okay, so that's what they sound like.
Yeah, those are awesome. I was getting stuff off of both of those boxes, and people in the chat room were hearing it as well. What were you picking up on, Bill?
Some general communication there. I guess they were answering to some of the questions that I was throwing out there. So, again, it's a little hard to hear when you're wearing headphones with the hookup here with our audio. But, yeah, I definitely have the volume up. So, as the night goes on, that's something I'd like to remind people. They will get more warmed up to communicating with us, and that's been happening a lot when I've done shows with Dave Scott there. That's a whole different ballgame when I'm doing shows with him. I'm in my car and I'm at a haunted location. Right now I'm at home in the comfort of my home, so basically I'm just using these two radios tonight.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Well, I love that you're using them. It's interesting that you do go to different locations with Dave. And do you find that you have more spirits communicating and more outcomes with going to a haunted location?
Well, the location that we go to most of the time is right beside Fleetwood Elementary School that's been torn down a few years back. So it's just a vacant lot, but it had a reputation for being haunted. And just the general area has a lot of strange energy, I find, and just, there's lots of factors to why that's happening there. But generally speaking, I find it quite active.
What do you think some of the factors are that come into play when you are at a place like that?
Well, right behind us is a cell antenna system there, too, so I have a strong signal for communicating with Dave. And I think that acts like an EMF pump that goes out to the general area. And just generally a lot of strange stuff has come through there.
That's super cool. Which one out of these two is your favorite? Do you have a favorite yet, or are you still kind of playing around with them to figure out which one you like to use best?
Well, basically, I like to use, the Echo Effect radio concept is good. I like to use it when I can. It's good for talk radio, and it's good for investigations sometimes where the client is actually involved with the communications, so they get to answer or ask questions and get answers or whatever. So, yeah, they find that very unique in a sense that they get to be part of it.
Someone on Periscope was asking, Alana209 was asking, can ghosts have kids? I don't think ghosts can make kids, but I believe that families that die together, like in car accidents and such, can be together. What are your thoughts on that, Bill?
Generally speaking, I think ghosts can, at a house, say they died many, many years ago, and there's a family in there now, and they seem to like that family. I think they kind of watch out for the kids, so in a sense, it's kind of like a little guardian of the household there, a little watcher watching over. So it could happen, yeah. About ghosts making kids, I don't think so.
Do you believe that there can be ghost children?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You can get kids. I've picked them up on my radios quite often. Little girls and other kids, sometimes even laughing and so on. So, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and it's sad, and it's funny because a lot of times, and I'm not talking funny haha, but funny peculiar, when people go out on investigations and they hear a child on EVPs or using the ghost box or whatever else, they automatically assume it's a demon because kids wouldn't be here, because heaven, yada yada. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think that, personally, that children's voices and such that we hear on the other side are demons. I think that children can be spirits.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they can be what you say, spirits. About the whole thing of demons, I think that gets overrated a lot of times. Why, sometimes it's explained that's a demon spirit if they're angry or whatever at a location, but I think a lot of times it's just a very angry ghost that used to be a real person in life. So, generally speaking, I think it's quite rare to actually encounter demons.
And we also had a person in here talking about ghost jamming out on the ghost box as far as music being played and such. Can you explain to us the way the ghost box works, the sweeping frequency, so on and so forth?
Well, it's a radio. The ghost box is a radio basically that is designed so it constantly scans. These radios here, I can adjust the scan rate to a certain degree, so I can speed it up or slow it down. And yeah, you're going to hear remnants of broadcast radio, or, I'm using FM band. That's what I prefer to use the most. So you're going to pick up music mostly on these. So you're going to hear a little of that tonight. That's going to be in between. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear these voices pop out. Sometimes they'll actually have a little phrase, or three to four word little sentence or whatever. So it happens.
Yeah, it's interesting when that does happen, and like you said, I think it's over-exaggerated when people are saying, oh man, I just heard a child's voice, that must be a demon. People just are uneducated, and they just jump to conclusions. And what do you feel about teams that go out there and investigate, claiming to help people, but they're actually just out there for the thrills and chills?
Well, it comes back to this whole respect thing. So if they're truly wanting to help people, that's the idea of having in paranormal groups, ghost hunting or whatever. I think that's kind of misused a little bit, that term. But, generally speaking, you're there to help people to know if there is activity at that location and try to track and document it, and then at the same time, if you can explain elsewise why there could be another factor to it. So really, I'm not there to get a thrill going out to these locations and getting pushed around or whatever. That's not my style of working with spirits. And generally speaking, people that do that kind of stuff, vegetation or whatever, I think is wrong. I think you're going to, if you have one person on that team just doing it on their own, they could actually endanger other people.
And someone was saying in the chat room, a lot of people freak out when there's an angry ghost and automatically assume it's a demon. And a lot of times, it's not even an angry ghost. It could be a spirit out there that is trying to communicate and maybe getting frustrated because you don't hear it and you don't realize it's trying to communicate, so it can scratch you and do other things to get your attention. What are your thoughts on that, Bill?
Well, I think that's quite rare for a spirit to attack you, in a sense, to get your attention. I think they'll do other means to get your attention. They themselves don't know how much they want to emit their energy to cause an effect in our dimension. So that's a bit of a play on their behalf, I think, too. So sometimes they could actually exert too much energy, and it could come out in a form that you got shoved really quite nasty. So that's one example. So.
Yeah, I had a girl call not too long ago that had said she had been scratched, and then her hair had also been pulled and kind of slammed on a door, and different things like that. But I never really picked up on anything demonic. And I don't think just because they do act out in that way doesn't mean that they are trying to harm you. They're just trying to get your attention and trying different things, and sometimes something will work. It's hard to, I think, grasp that energy on the other side and put it into fruition and use it to try to communicate. And a lot of times when we get EVPs or other things, it's in a whisper. So that's where I like the ghost box, because it comes through really loud and clear. Do you prefer the ghost box over EVPs, Bill?
Well, I do like using the ghost box. There's no question about it. But however, I still go back to using regular EVP techniques with digital recorder, for example, on investigation. I find that's important to do that still and keep up those skills as well at the same time. The thing is, when you use a digital recorder and you're using the ghost box, you can still pick up EVPs. They'll come through right close to the microphone, and they'll actually be either odd noises, or they could actually be saying something like help or whatever, or hello. So, that's the thing. I mean, when you're using, say, a ghost box, you should always record. So that's the important thing, is always record your stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And whether or not it's just, going into a haunted location, using different tools, which some people find experimental. When I use these tools, I like to use a lot of them and see kind of what I compound in information and how much it links up together. Do you use an array of different tools, or do you go in with just a ghost box or just an EVP recorder? How do you go into an investigation?
Well, if I'm going to do an investigation on my own at someone's home where they want me to try to make contact with whatever is happening in the house, I still will use traditional ghost hunting methods, get base readings on EMF fields and go around the house, and then maybe I'll go through again and see where the hot spots are and try to explain, if it can be. And, that's important. Plus, too, a lot of times the walk around with your client, I like to bring a digital recorder. So while we're talking and they're showing me all around the hot spots and this happened at this area of the house or whatever, at least if there is a spirit that's going to come through while we're communicating, myself and the client, you're going to get this little EVP coming through in between all that. So I find that's quite useful as evidence.
I think it really is, and it is fun to go in with our old tools like our intuition or gut instinct. Some people like to use dowsing rods. Have you ever used a Ouija board? And what are your thoughts on Ouija boards?
Well, generally speaking, I'm not a favorite of the Ouija board. However, I do know some people that use it, and they do it very effectively. So I think it's a skill set that they've learned and know how to utilize and get information. So, again, I'm not going to throw it out, and say it's all bad. I'm just going to say that certain people work well with it, just like the ghost box. Not everybody can use the ghost box, I found, and generally it's your contact field, they call it, your connection, in other words, to that radio, and allowing for things to happen and communications to happen.
Lynn was saying he uses both an SB7 and an EchoVox. He wants to get an SB11 and one of the new type of ghost boxes, not sure which he will end up choosing, but I find it's funny that he is mentioning these because we were talking about this before the show. I have an SB7 and an SB11 that has two different channels that you can sweep in reverse or forward and at different rates, but I actually have had more success with the SB7. Have you used any of these ghost boxes, Bill?
Yeah, I have both of those radios, the PSB7 and the PSB11. Generally speaking, I find the PSB11 very hard to work with. It's very noisy when you have, basically two channels of going up and down and scanning at different rates. I played around with it. I found a little bit success, believe it or not, on the AM band with the PSB11. So, however, it is difficult to work with. It sounds like a freight train coming through at the best of times, but it's easier to work with the PSB7 because it's just one radio going, and I find that's just a little more easier to work with.
So how do you choose your boxes, Bill? How do you decide which ones you'd like to use?
Well, it's been kind of trial and error. You test them out and see how they work, and then, I find with the using this echo effect speaker system, not all radios work that well with it. Some are, you have to find the right radios that match up well, and so the codeless box ones, basically, it works very well with it. So some of the radios I have, some of the hacked radios on AM work quite well. So again, I get a lot of help when I'm using the AM, when I'm using the echo effect speaker, and so I find that sometimes a little troubling because, you're trying to focus in for actual communications and you're getting a lot of help. So again, I direct them to the white light and so on. So, you try to help what you can.
Do you find that directing them to the white light works? Do you ever have spirits that don't want to go and resist it? What is your success rate doing such a thing?
Well, I know from other spirits when I've suggested going to the white light, they've actually encouraged them. If you don't want to stay here, move on. And so they've actually commented. So I have had that. It's up to these individual entities if they want to move on. Some of them still might have attachment to the location. So again, you tread lightly in this area, right? So again, you're not going to banish all these spirits just like that. So you want to work with them and be able to help when you can, and that's how I go about my investigations.
So when you're trying out new ghost boxes, do the guys that you are in contact with that make you your unique ghost boxes, do they allow you to try them out before purchasing? Or how exactly does that work?
Well, a lot of times they're like Jay, for example, he's in the United States, and Mark, he's over in the UK, so I can't get to try these out ahead of time. But I go by their reputation and also what other users have used their radios, and I know that they've been very happy and satisfied, so I tend to stick with the reputation part. And I find once I do get the radio, they work very well. So again, they work well in certain situations, certain investigations. I would use the direct link in certain locations. So maybe I'll have a couple different radios on hand for an investigation and switch over. I tend to sometimes do the switch over.
Well, that's a long ways to ship that. Do you have to pay for the shipping when they send those out? Or do they do that as a courtesy? How does that work?
Well, the price, they work the shipping in there, but it's pretty low because it's going through the postal service. So unless you wanted something like UPS or whatever, you'd pay a higher rate for shipping. But, they come in due time, and I've been very satisfied so far in how they manufacture it at their end and ship it out.
And can you go over again which one of these creators of the Ghost Box has been featured on Ghost Adventures, his name, the Ghost Box that has been featured, or Ghost Boxes, and ways that they can look this person up to get their own?
Again, that's Jay Prather, and his website is idcdevices.com, and so they can go that route. And he's also on social media as well, so they can get a hold of him through that means as well, and work some kind of order deal through him. Again, basically, his radios, they were featured on Ghost Adventures. It's one of his higher up radios from the one I'm using now. It's it's the Direct Link FX model. What actually has a little bit of an echo effect on there. He has a small circuitry in there, so he can give a bit of an echo effect. So I think that's really cool, how he's been able to manage doing that, a handheld radio for that matter.
So have you ever been able to use these particular ghost boxes that I've seen that doesn't have the sweeping sound or the fuzz, and there's crystals and copper and other things attached to this box? Have you ever been able to use one so intricate as that, or what's the closest you've come to one of those?
A lot of times that's for other purposes, what they're doing. Again, the radios I use are pretty basic looking. They don't have a bunch of fancy lights on them or anything like that. I don't really want to get into a lot of that kind of stuff. And again, if you're going to have a crystal, I just use one of my own crystals if I wanted to. Sometimes I've used that in the past, but I tend to not really do that so much because I still get good results. So I don't really have to find means of trying to improve that when it's already happening for myself.
Yeah, I just think they're really neat looking, and I like the way that you can hear the voice and it kind of echoes through, and it just seems more clear after listening to Ghost Box that sweeps through, and you get the fuzz and the other, radio stations and voices and music coming through. It can, after a while, kind of give you a headache, and the way that one just kind of shows a voice and echoes. I really like it. But you have a couple like that as well. We have a 484 number on the line. Who are we talking to?
Christopher Fisher.
Well, hello, Christopher.
Hello. A lot sad has happened this past week, and I feel I could use talking to a ghost box.
Okay. What were some of your questions that you'd like to mention there?
A lot will happen to me transition-wise because my mother passed away. I'm wondering if what they see that I should do.
Okay.
And secondly, I would like to know if they know if she's all right.
Okay, well, we'll work on something here and turn it on. Hello? I have Christopher Fisher here. He wants a message from his relatives from the other side. Is there a message? Are there any messages from his ancestors from France? What would you like to tell Christopher? You have a message? What kind of message do you have for him? Is there a message from his relatives on the other side? If you want, you can answer in French. He'll understand. Is Christopher going in the right direction now in life? He's on the right track there. There's something of importance you want to tell him. What would you like to tell him? You had something in particular. You feel that he's going in the right path now? He's had some loved ones pass away. You feel now that he can direct himself on a new frontier? Is there any other information you want to give Christopher Fisher right now? Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay. How did that go for you, Christopher?
Oh, there's a lot of information. They were really chatty.
Yes, they were.
They spoke in two languages, English and French.
Yeah, I know you like, well, you can understand the French, so that's why I encouraged them. Some of these old spirits of your side of the family come from France.
Yeah.
And I hate to cut you guys off right now, but we do have to go to our first break, so you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm. Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Hey, guess what? You can now get your brand new Spaced Out Radio swag at spacedoutradio.com. We've brought the store back with all new items for you to pick out and pick up for yourself, your family, or friends. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, we got it all. All you have to do is head to our website and click on Store. Choose what you want, and it's shipped to you. The Spaced Out Radio store is right there for you. Come shop with us at spacedoutradio.com. Then we can own the night together.
So, you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Really fired up tonight.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
I'm reading on here that that they want to communicate
Coming
with
soon
more
to our
when you stay
website,
talking to them.
spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For
How
just
are the
$5
comments
a
in the
month,
chat
you
room?
can
I'm
get
not
into
in
a
the
private
chat room,
area
but
on our
were
site
people,
where you can hang
finding
with
it
other
very
listeners
interesting?
in our chat room, post in our
Oh,
forum,
yeah.
and check out a bunch of exclusive content and stories
this
that
is
won't be
one of the
found
most
anywhere
popular
else,
shows on
including
our
a nightly
network, and
after-show
I
party with
love it,
Dave.
just like
It's going
everybody
to be
else.
the best $5 a
I
month
like
you're
coming
going
back.
to spend.
I
the
like to
SOR
be with
Space
Tessa.
Travelers,
It's great.
only at
She She allows me to use the echo effect. Dave doesn't really
Are you
go
tired
for that
of being
so much.
blocked, shadow banned, or
likes me to
placed
use
in
the
jail for
handheld.
simply
Well, it's a little
posting
harder
your
when you're in the
thoughts
car
on social media?
to use
Social
that
media freedom
setup
can
with
take
the
care
other,
of
so-
that for you.
Yeah, to
Social
use the
media
direct
freedom
link.
is the
But,
newest
the
and one of
direct
the
link
best
works well on
free
its own
new
way.
apps that
It's got
allows
its
you
own
the freedom to
special
post
type of
what you want
qualities as a radio.
when you want. It takes seconds to download
Yeah,
from your
I'd
app store.
like to
Come join
learn
the
more
tribe
about it,
at
'cause I
Social
know
Media
that
Freedom.
direct link
It's time
is,
to set yourself free.
Also a reverse polarity
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products.
That's the one
you
that's
won't
being
be sorry.
featured on
Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR at the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver.
Good, PR all the time on radio, so
come get spooked at the 4th annual Force Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Location not far from where I live there, beside the old
A timepiece
schoolyard.
is a reflection of who you are.
It's
and what better way to show off the real
interesting
you
stuff
than
coming
with an
through.
escape watch?
Sometimes
Escape is a
pretty weird
lifestyle
now.
brand
We've gotten
accessorizing
some
your
pretty
days
strange
and
stuff
nights.
coming through.
Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT, on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, back to Spaced Out Weekend host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Here's a sound again, voices dancing in my head, smile wide, drowning slowly as the echoes rise.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for listening in tonight. And yes, we were live there for a little bit. Like I was saying in the chat room, sometimes the double tap is not a good thing. and I accidentally double tapped that mute button. But welcome back, Bill and Christopher. It's been great having you on this evening.
Well, thank you.
Oh, it's been amazing, that session. Plus, I can't really fathom the information I got tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot to take in there, Christopher, in that short time I did it.
I know those words are deceptive means, that what the audience said, because of her ex-husband.
Okay.
That's spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard something just now when I said that.
Do you feel like your ghost box session helped you as far as your mom and the situation that you're going through right now?
Tremendously. It was pretty much a eye-opener of what was said. It's like that they know her and I were close and we took care of each other.
Well, that's good, and I'm glad that it gave you that warning. But you already knew about your stepdad there, so just follow your gut instinct, follow your intuition, and never doubt it. And I know you're strong. You'll get through this. This is a really difficult and hard time in life, but I know you'll get through it and be bright and shiny on the other side.
I appreciate you all. I appreciate this network. You all have been fantastic, helpful. I hope you all have a blessed night.
Thanks, Christopher. You as well. Bill, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Christopher.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher.
Have a great night. Bye.
Yep, take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, and have a good night. So yeah, if you guys would like to call in, the number is 970-335-9596. It's 970-335-9596. And Adder Alien was asking, what is the cutoff point throughout human evolutionary history that a ghost can be contacted? Do you feel like there is one? What is the oldest spirit that you've contacted, Bill?
I would say late 1800s and early 1900s. I've managed to contact spirits of that time period. I just think they're the most easiest in some ways. Again, more recent spirits I've contacted with not a lot of problems. So, again, those ones, it all depends on the day and time and, the right, how I'm even feeling too. So sometimes it's like I say, I'm the operator. So sometimes I have to be in a good state of mind when I'm doing this. I'm not going to be doing this if I'm angry or, worried or frustrated.
Yeah, and I think that's best because when you do have those things going on, it compromises you. And even when I go into an investigation, if I have stuff like that going on, or if I haven't gotten enough sleep, especially when I haven't had enough rest, I won't go in because that is when I'm most compromised. And also going alone is not a good idea. It's always safe, even just like hiking, going with somebody else. But always protect yourself and be aware of what's going on, and don't go in compromise because then things can go awry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, things will go sideways on you a lot of times. So, and then you could end up with an attachment, and then you have a whole ball of wax of bad stuff could happen. So that's the thing. You got to always protect yourself. I was picking up, of course, the French language, what's not that easy to understand, but however, I was picking up some of the other aspects I was asking, in what direction he was going and so on. So, yeah, they were responding to those kind of questions. fairly well, I think, and he was happy with it. So I think that's what really counts at the end is, him. Because really, I don't know his relatives on the other side. So it's me having to act as that intermediary to try to make contact. So again, that's what I do. In a sense, this is like electronic mediumship. It's kind of being dubbed with the ghost box. And really, it's really about energy when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it truly is. And what I was hearing basically was her thanking him and saying he was going to do good. And I did hear about the person there to be careful. And I'm trying to think what else I got. That basically she's free and she's happy. And so I don't think he should be worrying about her. He needs to, go through the mourning process. Like he said, he had the celebration of life today. Put her to rest,
exactly.
And I know it's going to be a long process for him to get through, as it is for all of us. But he's going to do really good, and I think things are going to work out really well for him. He just needs to focus on him and what's best for him at this moment.
Well, yeah, definitely. It's for him to, come to terms with a lot of what's happened in his family and be able to move on eventually and go through the grieving period and, just think of the happy times with your family members that have passed over. That's what I always say. That's the key.
And for those out there that want to call in with their questions, the number is 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596. And I find it interesting when I did hear French come through. I did take 3 years of French, but it's funny that I've only retained maybe 5 words from that 3 years, because if you don't use it, you lose it. I wish I could understand what they're saying. Do you have any knowledge or any understanding of the French language?
Well, I think in general, I did learn French in high school, but I've lost a lot of that, retaining a lot of that information. But however, the words, I can still read some French, and I found that to be quite interesting. So, yeah, again, out here on the West Coast, there's not an awful lot of French Canadians out here, but a long time ago, there was a small French Canadian community on the Fraser River. And so I do get, when I go near these areas, I do get a lot of French. And surprisingly, when I'm doing stuff with Christopher, I get French. So I find that really fascinating.
And I found recently that several of our listeners have been going through losses, and for the most part, it's been their mother, and Mother's Day is coming up, and I've been thinking a lot about them and how difficult this time is going to be, and what a time for them. Any time is bad, but right before Mother's Day to lose your mom. And last night we actually had an undertaker on. His name was Stanley Swan, and one of our listeners had messaged in and was talking about what do you do if you think your mother's passed away or she's like on the cusp, and so on and so forth. Her mother ended up passing away during the show, and
oh boy,
yeah, it was just really really sad. And I tried to check on her today and I haven't heard anything back, but I'm just like, man, like it seems like it happens in groups. Have you found that to be true in loss around you, that it does happen in multiple numbers?
Yeah, funny you mention that. I've seen that too with my own family, sometimes with relatives, uncles and aunts and that, and so on. It comes in waves. Sometimes it'll be 2s or 3s or whatever. It's comes in a wave form. It was really interesting that way.
Yeah, it's really strange indeed. And it's funny, like it's either 3 or more, and a lot of times it is in 3s. And I don't know if it just is a happenstance or if that's intentional, but it's pretty weird. I don't know what to think of it, but my thoughts and prayers and love and light are going out to our listeners tonight that are dealing with loss, and just know we're pulling for you and putting out that positive energy for you as well. And for those of you listening tonight that would like to call in, with your questions to the Ghost Box. The number is 970-335-9596, 970-335-9596. And you can also ask your questions in the chat room if you feel nervous or whatnot. So feel free to do that.
Yeah, definitely. If you want me to try to contact somebody from your family that's passed over, yeah, please do so.
And I've seen a lot of success in it, and generally I'm wearing my headphones, and so I get to hear it better, but there's something going on with my computer. The last 2 shows I haven't been able to get the headphones to work, and I plugged it into another route to listen to whatever was going on my phone, and it worked. So it's not the headphones, it's something to do with my computer. And somebody over here, Jazzin in Periscope, was saying scam, which it's not a scam. We're not charging anything. This is an actual happening. We're using Bill Hauser's ghost boxes. It's basically electronic EVPs. They can come through in this electronic device over sweeping stations. I think they take advantage of the white noise going on with that. So it's pretty interesting. How exactly does it work, Bill? Can you explain to our listeners how this...
Well, doing a radio show, it's I found you get a lot of interesting results from doing that. Like you're in Colorado, and someone could call in from New York State, so on the other side of North America, and you could actually make contact with somebody's loved one.
Do you think it's the white noise or the electricity? Do you think they just kind of pick up on the fact that you are a conduit? Do you find that you have gifts as far as intuition and hearing spiritual messages, and that kind of goes through your ghost box, or do you feel that it's the ghost box that is picking up on most of it?
Well, again, that comes to contact field, and so the user of a ghost box or the operator, it's, being able to work your energy in a sense. So in a sense, it's like channeling. So yeah, it's a little bit of that aspect. So that's why ghost boxes work well with some people and not so well with others. And again, the white noise, that also adds to a little bit of the aspects of boosting their energy, I think.
Hello.
Hello. How are you tonight?
Good. Oh, I didn't hear it first.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted with this thing going on with my computer. I'm like, I unmute over here, but I have my mic muted too, because if I don't, then it comes through anyways. So sorry about that. Welcome, Jason. It's so great to have you. How's it going?
Good. This is actually called, spirit session or ghost box session. So, and the only reason I am is because I'm just curious. I'm testing out. I had one of my best friends die on March 22nd, and it's really it's messed with me so bad. It's probably changed my life, actually. This guy watched my daughter. Our kids played together. I've known him since 2008. And he died because of some negligence, because they were afraid to call 911. So they let him sit there and pretty much die while they partied on, Wayne, so to speak.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that, Jason. It's really terrible when people think of themselves instead of the person that needs the help at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his daughter's birthday is actually today, and she just turned 5. So, and he never, that's the whole thing. And our good friend, my ex-fiance, told me of a dream she had about him, a very lucid dream. And I'm not going to get into it, but unless you want to hear it, because it's very interesting. But
I'd love to.
How do we do the what's that? Go ahead.
I'd love to if you want to get into it, but we can do the ghost box thing first and then get into that afterwards, or get into that first and then the ghost box after. Whatever you'd like to do.
What do I ask? Just say hey and say his name.
Yeah, what's his name there?
His name is Ridge. Ridge. Ridge.
Ridge. Okay. Well, I'm going to turn on the system here. Hello. I have Jason here. He wants to get a hold of his dear friend who passed over. His name is Ridge. Is Ridge there? Ridge, are you there? Jason here on the other side of my computer. Do you have a message for him? Ridge, are you at peace right now?
Now that, do you want to...
Are you at peace? Are you truly at peace? You must have something you want to tell your dear friend here. He's concerned. You're doing okay now on the other side?
Relax, favorites. Short.
Do you have anything of importance? You must have something of importance. Ridge?
The great raider.
You guys are awfully talkative on your side.
I guarantee.
I want Ridge to talk. Can you help get Ridge to talk for us? Encourage him? I want to know if he's doing okay. And if he's happy.
I see it. Yeah, coverage. Nope. Good. Which is what?
Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay, I wonder if that could help you there.
I heard my name.
Yeah, I did too,
Yeah.
So. Again, do you hear any voice that sounded close to your friend Ridge there?
I'm going to have to go back and listen to it, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I'm on a cell phone. It's
Oh,
really
okay.
hard.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there was a lot of stuff coming through in the way of voices, so yeah, it does help to wear headphones or listen to it at with another device or whatever.
right. So, but
Vary from spirit to spirit.
Again, I think it depends on the spirit. Again, if they really have something to say, they'll convey that to us. So, it really doesn't matter about time, as far as I'm concerned.
But I appreciate it. But yeah, that dream that my ex-fiance had about him, she said it seemed so real, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much more time, but I'll let it go. But,
well, I'd like to hear it, and we're not
time.
over flooded with calls. We don't have anybody waiting, so I'd love to hear it if you want to share it. You don't have to, but I would enjoy it.
Oh, well, basically he was saying that there is no time where he is, and he can only go where he's physically been in this life. Like if he knows where he used me for an example. He says, well, I know Jason's in Arizona and I can look at it at a map. He says, but I can't just go there. I don't know where he is. He says, I just wander Arizona forever. He says, and that's where you can get lost. And then she asked him, lost where? And she said he didn't elaborate. He said, you just get lost and you got to be careful. And he says, then there's penalties for popping in on people and watching them. And he says, and then she says, well, I know I'm dreaming right now, and what are you doing here? Do you know that you're dead? He says that this had taken place, the dream, in the yard, in the shed where he died, actually, where we all used to hang out and, I'll be honest, smoke medical marijuana and, have a few beers. And in the dream, they were doing the same thing. And she said what was really lucid that seemed so real was as they were talking, she says, what are you doing here? Don't you know that you're dead? And he says, yeah, I know that I'm dead. How long has it been? And she says, it's exactly a week. And he says, wow. And she says, well, why are we smoking weed? And he said, because it's a memory we share, and I'm a relive it. He says, I can relive certain moments. It's kind of like a reward. So I don't know if any of that is true, but I just thought the dream was pretty interesting to say the least. Because I've had, and I'm sure majority of us have had lucid dreams like that. Especially when you can kind of control it and you know you're dreaming.
Yeah, I've had dreams about past loved ones, and it's one of those things where you can't just dream about them if you want to. I'm sure that you've wanted to see him since he's been gone, and to see him in a dream would be almost just as good, but like I was saying earlier this week, my mom passed. I've only seen her 2 times in the last 35 years in a dream. I've had my friend come through once, my dad come through only once, and then another friend come through once. So it's kind of like when they do come through, really pay attention to it because they are trying to share a message. And I can see where it makes sense, like he can go where he's been before because you kind of leave that trail of your energy, so perhaps it's easy for you to go there. But I think perhaps the longer he's over there on that side, he'll realize he can go other places as well. I've heard of spirits going on astral hops and going on different places. How do you feel about that, Bill? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's very interesting. He said that Edge there basically would get in trouble if he popped into people's dreams and certain aspects of it. And I thought, again, that comes back to what I heard, that there's rules of the dead, and I've heard this before mentioned, and it makes me think with the comment that he said that there might be something to this, the rules of the dead there on their end.
And I've heard that the same thing about penalties. My husband's dad would sneak into dreams, and he was kind of frantic, like he was hiding from someone, and he's like, they're coming for me, and I'm not supposed to be here talking to you, and if anybody comes, don't let them know I was here. And he was kind of like hiding out on the down low. So to say that there are penalties for coming through to visit people is pretty interesting. So maybe that's why they don't come through as often as we'd like them to. And what a blessing it is when they do come through. I hope he comes to see you, Jason, but I did get a lot of words coming through on that. I wish I had my headphones where I could listen better, but I'll get that worked out this week. But yeah, I hope that helped. And that dream was pretty amazing that she had. Is everybody still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just waiting for Jason to reply.
Jason, are you still here? Yeah, it shows that we lost him, so I think he hung up. But yeah, it's hard to lose not only your family but your friends, and it's cool that he came through to his ex and she was able to reiterate to him what he had said. But yeah, it's hard to lose people. It really is.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Not hope for them so much, but for us.
Yeah, I hope things work out for him and he can move on eventually. And, you know, grieving is a tough thing, and that's something that a lot of people have problems with. And so it can stay with you for a long time, real bad feelings and depression and so on. So, yeah, it's hard. Everybody deals it in a different way, I realize. And so hopefully that he can move on with himself eventually.
Yeah, and it's just difficult, especially when it's an aggressive way of going, whether, you know, somebody murdered someone or somebody knows that someone's dying and they don't do anything about it because they're afraid of repercussions coming back upon them. Unless you're directly involved, you should have no fear of that, and you should call the police, no matter if you're high or drunk or whatever, and let them know something's wrong and somebody needs help, because you know, preserving that life means more than you not facing fines or whatever, which more likely than not will not happen, unless they've been keeping tabs on you or whatever. But it's really sad when that happens, and I've heard so many stories, and I would go into those, but I don't want to take up the time of people that could be calling in right now and trying to get messages through. And the number for that, again, for our listeners out there, is 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596, and you can call in on Skype, cell phone, or even home phone. Bill, are you aware of other ways that people can reach out to their loved ones and try to get a message, or do you think it's better just to let it go? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously dreams are probably the easiest way a spirit could, you know, communicate with you, or at least, you know, make their presence known. Again, it depends on individuals, how they go about if they want to actually make contact. So I have one way that I do it here. I mean, there's other ways. You could go through a Ouija board or whatever, so it can happen. And so, yeah, or go through and use medium services to get, you know, psychic impressions and so on. So there's many different ways.
We actually have a caller from area code 330. Who are we talking to?
Hello, Tessa. This is Moonlight. How you doing tonight?
Good, Mooney. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing, Bill?
Very good. And yourself?
Doing good.
That's great.
I got somebody I'd like you to try to make contact with, and I got some good questions for you also. So,
okay.
The person I'd like you to try to get in contact with is a friend of mine who passed about a month ago. His name's Henry.
Okay.
And, I'd like you to find out if he's still able to play with his chickens.
Okay. We'll turn the radio on. Hello? I got Moonlight on the other side of my computer. He wants to get a hold of Henry. Henry, do you have a message? You doing okay? You have a message for your friend Moonlight? Henry? He wants to know what's happening with the chickens. You know? You have something about that? So are you at peace, Henry? Maybe? You still have unfinished business here? Henry? You're doing okay, I hope. Your friend Moonlight wants to know about the chickens. Can you explain that? Did you do that? What else would you like to tell Moonlight, Henry? Do you have something of importance that you want to tell him? Okay, well, thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Well, how'd that go there, Moonlight?
I heard some interesting stuff there. I'll be real interested when I get to play this back after a bit on the studio monitors, so I can get a good listen to them on the instead of off the phone. But some of the responses I heard here in the chat room really do sound like him. Some of these words that they're putting in here that they think they heard would definitely have been him. He always went by Skippy. I was hoping somebody would have popped up to Skip or Skippy, but some of these phrases and stuff that they're putting up that they heard definitely sound like stuff that he would have said. And I really think I heard him say Mooney, which is what he used to call me all the time. I really think I heard that a couple times in there. And a couple
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool.
But I thought that was a good session, though. So I really look forward to hearing it after that with on the good speakers.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks, Bill.
You're very welcome.
Hey, I got a couple questions here. I know that when you go through, you can change the speed at which it scans station to station, and then I know, and then you normally have a different knob that can do, depending on the radio, it's able to. I know you have a volume knob. Then you usually have another knob that can do what?
These are pretty simple radios. So I have just an on and off switch with this radio with the codeless box 25, and then it has its own volume and what they call the sweep rate or the scan. So I do make some adjustments. I kind of go by the sound of the responses and that. So I do slightly make scanning adjustments, but overall it's doing its thing, and then it's patched through, of course, through the Echo Effects speaker. So that enhances its listening more. So again, when you listen to these radios, they all have different sounds to them. And so some of them more scanning, more clicking sometimes. a little more white noise, and all that kind of stuff. So for some listeners who don't listen to the Ghost Box, it's very difficult for them to listen to. But I find the Echo one tends to help enhance that listening experience.
Yeah, and that does have a very different sound to it on this one than some of the other ones, and which I like, because I can't stand that really loud staticky sound. That just drives me nuts. And this one has a much better sound to it, I think.
Yeah. Well, even the direct link, I like the sound of that radio too. So again, that works in a whole different fashion. So it has a different kind of a scan aspect too. That's what they call a random scan and all that kind of stuff, all the technical stuff. But again, these radios are scanning pretty fast. They're over 100 milliseconds. So
yeah, this one, when you just did it this time, it really seemed to have a high scan rate on it. I know sometimes the rate seems to slow down, and I was going to ask you about that whenever you slow down your sweep rate or scan rate, whatever you want to call it. I know that when you get these, sometimes you get phrases. At what point do you cut off that kind of the phrases or whatever like that and just throw those out?
Well, I kind of let them just say what they have to say and then make those adjustments scanning-wise. But I try not to do it too drastically because it could interfere with their communications. So, and again, atmospheric conditions at my end, all this kind of stuff have to be taken in consideration, weather and so on. So you have all the, outside interference problems that could take place. So luckily, that's why I like FM. AM has more of that problem, even in the neighborhood. If there's a strong EMF field nearby, or say, neon lights nearby, or somebody with power tools next door using them in their basement or something like that.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of interference from that.
Yeah. So AM tends to pick up all that kind of stuff. So I find it harder to work with.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I definitely appreciate it, Bill.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you guys, great show. Great show tonight. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mooney, and it was so great hearing from you, and I hope when you listen back you get a really good message out of there. I was picking up on a lot of different stuff. Bill, have you ever found that when a spirit does come through, you not only hear their voice, but words from them coming through different other voices? They're kind of working with other spirits to get their message through. It's kind of like a combined effort, or is it always just from that one particular voice?
Well, it can be from other spirits, or sometimes other spirits can speak on the behalf of, say, another spirit you're trying to get a hold of, possibly, and because their energy level or whatever is not up there at that time to emit communications. So, yeah, it's very possible to have that kind of communications.
Yeah, it's just that when I've listened to the show in the past and I listen to the words and I hear different messages come through, I just type in everything that I've heard, and I've heard so many people say that message was right on and so on and so forth. So I was wondering if they do kind of work together to get that message through, because it does take energy, no matter if you're in a dream or in someone's personal space or using a ghost box to get that message through. So it's pretty cool that they do kind of work together to get the message through for each other.
Yeah, they do sometimes do that. They cooperate and work as a team on their side, and a lot of times, they have a lot to say too at times.
I remember one particular time when you were on, and there were many spirits trying to get through and say different things, and then in the background you could hear one particular ghost telling them, all right, get in line, wait your turn, we'll get through with our messages, and so on and so forth. And that was pretty cool that there was actually somebody on the other side trying to keep it coordinated to where we could actually get a message we were trying to receive, instead of everybody trying to get theirs through at the same time. So it's cool how there's still that thought process and that acknowledgement of, okay, everybody stand in line one at a time so they can hear us, so on and so forth. That was pretty awesome. So what ghost box did you use for Kevin and Jason?
That was the Codeless Box 25 because that works well with the echo effect. I can't plug in the other one because there is no audio jack, so it's handheld, and that radio works on a whole different concept. So basically, I'm the antenna with that radio, so that's why it's called the direct link.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. So it works through you and then through the box?
Well, basically, I'm acting as a conduit in some ways, but also as an extension of its antenna, because there is no antenna. It's just a little plate on the side of that handheld radio. So when I touch it, and basically then it forms reception, so they're able to then communicate.
I just had somebody try to call through on a past conversation that we've had on Skype, because different names came up at the same time. But if you're trying to call into the show, please call in directly to the number, because I can't answer the call when you call through like that. It'll make me hang up on Bill and answer your call, and then we have no success with getting your answers from the Ghost Box. So if you can call in at 970-335-9596, that's 970-335-9596, we'll have much better success in doing that. So yeah, I lost track because I was like, wow, we got a call, and then all of a sudden I couldn't answer it because it was a number of people. Oh, okay. They said I didn't see the window. I'm trying to figure out who that is. Mm-hmm. It could be the person that we had on last night. Yeah, she should totally call in. And let me send her that message really quick. And for those of you out there that want to receive a message, don't feel shy. If you do feel shy, go into Spreaker.com, make an account, go to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, and it just takes less than a minute to really make an account. To come in and ask a question and hang out with some really awesome, like-minded people. So let me send her a message really quick. In the meantime, Bill, did you have anything else to add to what we've been doing so far?
Well, you said something very interesting. You talked about someone in the background saying, well, one person at a time. That reminds me of this whole concept of the gatekeeper, or the technician that's been called, or, they have some different names, but some form of order at their end where you have somebody, basically taking charge and forming order for communication. So I find that very interesting. Again, this whole thing of the gatekeeper aspect, I don't really call upon the gatekeeper per se, but however, in itself, personally, I've not had to do that, but in the past, but, there's always the opportunity where you could call on that person.
Sorry, I'm trying to get on you. So, I found it interesting as well. I was like, wow, there's actually somebody over there coordinating. They're like, okay, come on, everybody back off, get in line, one at a time, let's take turns, let's get this message through the way it should be. And it was a female, and she had some sort of either English or British accent. I can't really pin it down at the moment. But it really did amaze me. I was like, holy shnikes, there's somebody on the other side that is taking care of this and is trying to keep, like you said, order on the other side. Keep everybody in line. That way it's not just a big old splurge of different people saying words and trying to make one certain message out of it. If one at a time can come through, unless, like you said earlier, they're working together, that would be best.
Yeah. Well, definitely there seems to be some form of order at their end, and also at the same time being able to coordinate and try to allow spirits to individually do their thing to communicate.
We have a caller from area code 206. Who are we talking to?
Hey, Tess, it's Nikki. Hi, Bill.
Hello, how are you?
Doing okay. I was wondering and hoping one of my grandmothers would come through. One I didn't really get along with very well, and that was Agnes. The other one, her name is Selma, and she and I were extremely close.
Okay.
And I know Agnes has been around off and on over the last couple of years, but I know Selma is around a lot. But I don't pick up from the two of them, so just thought I'd ask.
Okay, we'll see if we can try to make contact with one of them.
That would be great. Thanks.
Hello? I got Nikki on the other side of my computer. She wants to make contact with her grandma. Thelma? Grandma Thelma, are you there? Are you there? You have a message for Nikki? You have a message for her? Are you at peace? You can say hi to her. She can hear you. What would you like to tell her? Grandma Thelma, what would you like to tell Nikki? You could make contact with her. Just say hello. You doing okay at your end? Anything in particular you got to tell the family? Okay, we're going to go to the other grandma. Grandma Agnes, are you there? Do you have a message for Nikki? Do you have something of importance? Are you happy? Grandma Agnes, are you happy? You at peace? You watch over the family at times? What message do you have there? Grandma Agnes? Must have something. Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay, how did that go there, Nikki?
Sorry, I had you on mute. Well, in the first one, I heard my grandmother's name, and there's a section I got. So what I got was "What's up?" Well, there was a word before "What's up." then what's up, okay, Baxter, that makes no sense to me. Then 2 words after that, then my name, Nikki, then do a double take, another word, then Autobot, and I'm not even sure that's the right, I know it's Auto, B-O, and I didn't quite catch if it was a T or an X or, for her, 1, wherever, that, then I missed a word, and then it's hi from Mark. That makes no sense to me right now. It might when I think about it later on. Another word, and we hate that. Another word, and then it's that's from Thelma. Another word, yes, or attention. What's supposed to be? Thelma. What are these? And then I missed another word. And then the one regarding Agnes were 3 words that I missed. It was way too fast. It's not. And I heard my dad's voice.
Really?
It's the voice that was, yeah, it freaked me out, actually. I couldn't even think when I heard his voice. It kind of flipped me out because his voice is very deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The next words after it were, it's Dad.
We have to go to our commercial break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen closely. Spaced Out Radio continues through the weekend. From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Weekend with Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hey guys, welcome back. So great to have you listening this evening. This evening we have Mr. Bill Hauser, and we had left off with Miss Nikki, who had called in about her grandmother. Welcome back, Bill and Nikki. So great to have you guys on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So Nikki, you were talking about, as we left off, you heard your dad come through.
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out, actually. My dad's voice is very deep, and I know for a fact that he is he's my main spirit guide, but which I didn't even know was possible until a major bigwig psychic, very famous one, went to shake my hand, and he looks at me and goes, "You do know your dad's your spirit guide, don't you?" And I just could have knocked me over with a feather by that point. And ever since, it's been kind of interesting. And I've heard him, and it's kind of trippy to hear him in my head. I mean, I heard things before, but I didn't register that it was him before I was told. And to actually audibly hear on the radio my dad's voice kind of freaked me out. So I started crying, and I went, no tears right now. We'll deal with that later. And then, and I'd heard my grandmother, his mom, which is Agnes. I heard her voice, and like Bill was saying, I think I agree with him. He was saying that Dad probably brought Agnes through a little bit more, because I also heard Thelma's voice, but it was, I want to say meek and mild. Meek was not either one of my grandmothers by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, it was fascinating to hear all three family members on the radio, on the spirit box. It just is a trip to me. I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, even from my own personal experience, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm kind of tripped out by this. So, you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening to your comments, and yeah, it is amazing when you do get, like, all three of your relatives coming through like that. Yeah, they had different levels of their voices and how they're emitting their themselves to communicate, so yeah, it's amazing that your dad came through. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So you definitely thought it was the cadence and, you know, what his voice would sound like if, you know, you were to hear him again.
Exactly, and via a radio, I mean, it was just like, whoa. But I didn't catch what he had said because the emotion hit me. And then when I cut my emotion off, the next thing that was said was, "It's Dad." Then a word, another word, and then, "It's from Grandma. I do have it." Missed a word. Well, I actually missed 4 words. Get up. It's up. Please. Uh-huh. Then a horn. Missed a word, and then she'll know. Missed 2 words and a phrase. I'll have to go back in to all the ones that I missed. Next after that was she got and don't go. I'm assuming the word was go because that was where it was cut off at. But, yeah, actually hearing my dad again, that just kind of, and registering that Thelma had come through. She was having a hard time coming through. That was the impression I got.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Well, it's amazing that you reacted to your dad's voice and you felt it, you know, like, you know, his presence, shall we say, upon you in that regards.
Yeah. I'm still kind of blown out of the water, just even after talking about it. And, you know, as we went through the commercials and stuff, I was like, wow. Anyway, I quit babbling so somebody else can get on.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to shave my legs because you made them grow an inch. But I'm glad you got a message come through.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great that your dad came through with this whole communications there.
Yeah, Thanks a lot, Bill. I appreciate it. And thanks, Tessa.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for calling in, Nikki. You're awesome and amazing, and I'm so glad that your family came through. It wasn't just one person. It was like 3 or 4, so that was pretty epic.
Yeah, I agree. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye now. Take care.
Good night. And yeah, you guys who have called in to get your message, do listen back 1, 2, even 3 times just to keep gleaning it, because you'll get something new every time. But yeah, Bill Hauser, every time he comes on, and that's why I love to have him back repeatedly, probably why Dave loves to do the same. We're just like pulling at Bill. We need to get those messages from you, because you do an awesome job. You're an awesome conduit for this, and that's so awesome that Nikki was able to get those from her using your ghost box.
Yeah, it's just the whole process worked very well there, and I'm surprised too that the dad came through, the father. So yeah, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and I didn't expect that, but that does happen sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So are we still using the same ghost box as we were with the other ones? Or are we going to switch it up a little? And
we can use this one for a little bit longer, and then maybe go to the direct link there, and give that a little bit of time on the air. And because I like both radios, so I'm not too partial for one or the other. I like both.
All right. Yeah, we have about, let's see, T-minus 40 minutes and counting. But if you guys want to call in with your questions to your deceased friend, family, loved one, somebody that you really cared about, you still have questions for, and I don't know, what do you feel about doing celebrities, Bill? I'm not talking about like Lorraine Warren or people that have just recently passed away. I'm talking about people in the past, not taking advantage of their loss and kind of stepping on their family's toes. I'm talking about those that have passed quite a while ago that we may be able to contact.
Well, generally, entertainers, celebrities of that nature, I don't usually make the effort to communicate with. Historical figures, like here in BC, yeah, I definitely like to try to see if we can get them to come through, or, people of that nature. So when you have people of historic thing there, I always find that very fascinating.
And I find the ghost fascinating, period. The first one I ever purchased was the SB11, and it's got 2 different stations. It goes forward or backwards. You can play both at the same time, going forward or backwards, but I think it's just too much all at once, and I think there's too much going on there, and I had more success with the SB11. I wish I had a whole assortment like you do. I wish I had the connects. How much does a ghost box cost when you have it specifically made for yourself?
Well, it depends on the builder, what they're charging. But, usually here with the exchange with Canadians, say to the pound in England, they're about $260, I guess, somewhere in that range, Canadian. So yeah, it's reasonably priced for a custom built. Again, the PSB 7, that's going to cost you about $80 online, $80 to $90 if you order through a Ghost Hunters outfit company or whatever.
Well, that's not too bad. I mean, there's so many things out there that are really high priced, and for us, we've looked at different things. The most recent we want for our team is the X-Cam, which has basically a Connect hooked up to it, that's hooked up to a recorder or something like that, that'll pick up on different entities in the area, which in the past, using the Connect in our house, which is very haunted, we've had entities pop up on the Connect, and even the Connect turning on by itself and kind of scanning the room, so we ended up unplugging it, and ever since then we haven't used it. But it was very, very expensive when I first wanted it for our team, but now it's down to like the $300 to $500 range, so it's not really out of our league anymore.
Yeah, well, a lot of times these devices, they can be a little pricey there at times, and then you will find, some really good little gadget guy making sort of an offshoot of some technology like that too. You see that a lot with REM pods where they're making that, and I've seen a few custom-built REM pods, and they work pretty good, opposed to the ones that you would buy like online, say with a Ghost Hunters outfit company.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the different prices for the different places, and to have it personally made instead of just ordering off of a catalog and have it sent to you and see how it works. It's cool to have somebody thinking of you as they're building it and personally making it for you. I'd love to have one like that.
Yeah, a lot of times they build it pretty good. I mean, the others are kind of like factory built, so they're probably being built somewhere in Asia, farmed out and built. So, yeah, again, this whole thing about equipment and devices and all this, you have the other side of ghost hunting in the paranormal field. You have the industry, I call it, where, shows like Ghost Adventures have guys like Bill Chappell come on with his wonderful devices and so on. So that's a great way for advertisement, but at the same time, every other paranormal group out there wants the same device. So, yeah, it's an interesting market field and how that's working.
Yeah, it is interesting. And then when you're talking about how it's just made over there in the Asian countries or whatnot, it's kind of like, you depersonalized it. I was thinking that you ordering this was kind of personal for you because you do have these personal connections with these makers of these ghost boxes. Is it more personal than I'm thinking, or is it less like they just kind of put the order in and they build it somewhere else and then they send it to you as it's done?
I imagine a lot of these guys are getting them what they call farmed out to some electronic company to mass produce them or whatever. And, obviously they're bringing in the sales to do that. So it's different for an individual builder to, it's working in a very small scale to do something like that. But, it's, again, if something's built personally, it's probably built a lot better.
Yeah, I would think so, because you have some sort of energy put into it. Thinking of an individual when you're kind of, like you're saying, farmed out and just repetitively making something, it's not quite as special. But as you were saying earlier, it really has nothing to do with the way that this piece of equipment is made. It really has more to do with the fact that your own specific gifts and being able to be a conduit for this specific object.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the ITC, or contact field as they refer to. So, again, when you're using all kinds of devices in the paranormal, that some of them have limitations and so on, and they're affected by different environmental factors and so on. So, you have to really look at, the mechanics of it, shall we say, and how it would best suit you.
Yeah, it's very interesting how it works, and as well as with protection and healing prayers, it all has a lot to do with faith, and the faith in yourself, the faith in the equipment you're using, or the prayers, or whatever else you're using for protection. And for those of you listening on the air, on Facebook, Twitter, Skype, Periscope, Instagram, be sure to call in 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596. And you can use your phone, cell phone, as well as Skype to get a hold of us. I haven't had any luck with Facebook Messenger, but if you guys would like to call your lost loved one, whether it's a friend or family member, feel free to do so, because Bill's got some really awesome tools here to try to get you some messages from the other side.
Yeah, like I get back to that term, electronic mediumship. I think that's quite appropriate in a sense. In a way, this is kind of in a form of mediumship that we're doing here. And of course, myself acting as a conduit, so helping to channel those spirits to come through.
Hello?
Awesome. Well, we have a caller from area code 917. Who are we talking to?
Hi, it's Daryl. Let me turn off the radio. 1 second. Oh, dear.
Be sure to call in 970.
This is Hold on. You can't get the volume off for this thing. 1 second.
Cell phone.
I'm like, I hate listening to myself. I was forced to do so a couple weeks ago, but I learned a lot. I'm so grateful I had to.
I'm going to turn up the volume.
Yeah, if you could just mute it somehow. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I know. I can't turn the volume. Almost. I think I got it.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to that electronic media.
Wait, I got another way to do it.
You can do it. I have faith in you.
I got a volume. I got it. I found the volume button. Because I can't find it on the, I just can't push it on the other button, on the F keys, but I found it on the other key. Okay, I got it. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Well, I got some sad news. Unfortunately, I did lose my mother last night. She, I kind of knew she was dead, but I didn't want to see her, but it wound up being worse than I ever thought, because I wound up giving her CPR after I called 911, and I did it for 10 minutes, and I was like, "Are you sure this can work? Does anyone ever respond after this long?" They said, "Yeah, it can work, And as soon as the EMS came, they looked at her, they looked at me, and they said, "We're not even going to bother. She's probably been dead for 2 hours or so, There's no use trying, And it was just so garish, to see her, oh, God, not the way I wanted to, see her the last time I saw her,
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that, sister. That is really hard, and especially by yourself, and I wish I could have been there with you to help you through that, because that is a really hard, terrible time, but at least you tried. Even though it was too late, you did try, and so there's no way you can look down upon yourself for that, but it was very traumatic, and I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, but you know what they told me? They said, "Listen, she went really peacefully. We've seen this before. She went in her sleep, and I promise you, she went as peacefully as you can possibly go," which gave me a lot of comfort, They were really nice, the paramedics. They couldn't, and the police were really sweet, and they were so young and so good looking. But anyway, everything's taken care of. Everything's taken care of. I had, the right numbers to call, and they were very helpful as well, in getting everything done, They took care of a lot, and they stayed with me, all the time. So it was good. It was okay, and I'm taking care of it, and I have a good friend with me. He's staying with me right now. He came, I paid for his cab. Anyway, I wanted to know, this is one weird thing. Her neighbor came over and told me that my mother told her that she had converted from an atheist Jewish woman to a Catholic over 5 years ago. Have you ever heard of something? She never told me that, what? Why would you choose that? Catholic. Maybe Christian, born-again Christian would be more common or something, but a Catholic? I don't know. So I found that very unusual. But my father also, I found a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses on, pamphlets on his desk when he died. So I wonder if they both found religion at their late ages, And I wonder if they're together now, and if they found Jesus, if they're together. I was wondering, how they're doing, and if they're together. Do you think I can ask the ghost box that, maybe?
Sure, yeah. And what was your first name again?
I'm Daryl.
Daryl, okay.
My mom's Renee, and my dad was Charles.
Okay. Well, see what we can do here. I have Daryl on this side. of my computer. She wants to get a hold of her mom and dad. Are you there? There's mom and dad? Especially the mom? I heard you just passed. Do you have a message for your daughter?
An opportunity.
What would you like to tell your daughter? How about the father? Message for your daughter? Daryl? Now, I want to ask you a question there, Dad. What is with your Jehovah's Witness information you had at your home at one time? Were you exploring religion?
Go for that matter.
And how about you, Mom? I hear you were an atheist for a long time, and you now went to being involved in Catholicism as a Catholic. What made your change to that, if you don't mind me asking? So have you truly found peace there, Mom? So Mom and Dad, are you truly at peace? Because Daryl wants to know, your daughter. Now, what kind of a message would you have for your daughter? Something of importance. You have something you'd like to tell her? What else would you like to tell? Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay, we're back there. Daryl?
Hey, you know, I have to go back and listen to the archive because I was on my cell phone. I usually catch a lot of the words on the computer, but listening on the cell phone, I couldn't catch anything.
Yeah, it's a little harder.
Do it again.
Yeah.
But I heard, it seemed like a lot of chatter. Did anybody pick up any messages?
I did, and I put it in the chat room if you want to read on that and see if it has any connection.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for writing them down. That would be great. That's awesome. I'll read them. Thank you for doing that for me. Yeah. Really, I appreciate
You're
that
very welcome.
so much.
Yeah, and again, very sorry to hear about your mom there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. He was 97.
Wow.
And he was 86. He would have been 98 in 2 weeks on May 18th. She just missed her birthday.
Yeah.
Aww. Well, he didn't miss it. They're both celebrating it together right now, and
they were 2 days apart. You know, they were born 2 days apart. They were the same exact age. Isn't that something?
Yeah, and it's hard, like I said earlier, it's hard for us, but it's good for them. They're happy, and they're together, and they're celebrating her long life, because she did have a really long life. And and I did get a lot of messages, not only from your mom, which she sounds in her voice a lot like you to me, and I heard messages from your dad. And somebody, yeah, and somebody in here was saying, this is not to be played with for entertainment, and this is a borderline disrespect of power. And I don't believe so, because you're trying to connect with your mom. That's not a borderline disrespect of power. This is my friend Daryl trying to connect to her mom. So, wicked ringer, take your judgment somewhere else, because we're not being disrespectful. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. Had you listened to it, this is all about respect and getting messages from the other side.
Yeah, definitely.
I really appreciate what you've done. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's truly a comfort to have any kind of sign or signal. And I've gotten so many from my dad, who was an atheist. So, you know, for an atheist, he had a lot to do to prove that he was around. And boy, did he ever. You know? He gave it to me in writing, actually. He said, if you can't see it or touch it, it doesn't exist. And the sooner you accept that, the better off you'll be. And literally, he gave me something in writing. It had a date on it, actually. That was what proved to me that it was him, because there was an envelope that he didn't have to write a date on it at all. But he had handed it to me maybe 20 years ago. And on that envelope was August 17th. Why he wrote the date on the envelope, I have no idea. But you know what day he died? August 17th.
That's amazing.
And that to me was like 1 in 365 chances. I think that was a lot of proof. It was in writing. I held it in my hand. I felt it. And I had goosebumps all over me. I totally felt him, you know. I don't think I imagined that. I really felt him there, you know. He wanted me to find that envelope to show me that he was there. He had to do something a little extra to make sure that I knew he was around, and he put it in writing, you know. Just like he said, if I couldn't see it or touch it, it didn't exist. But if I could see it and touch it, it did exist, right?
So true.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. My dad. That was the coolest thing. So I don't know what my mother can do now. She just said, "Oh, you know, we just died. It's one and done." I'm just shocked that she became a Catholic. It's just unbelievable. What? Did
well,
she
at
get
the end, a lot of us are just like reaching for something to have faith in or believe in and find comfort in. So yeah, she's happy on the other side though. She's happy, and she's not worried about all the ifs, ands, or buts, or crossing of the T's or dotting of the I's or whatnot. She's happy, and on the other side with your dad, they're together, and they were both to me coming through. So that was very cool to me to hear both their voices.
Thank you so much, Tess. Thank you. That's great. I can't wait to hear the archive. I'll let you know what I come up with, too.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. And let me know what you get off of not only my message, but there's other listeners in the chat room that are writing down what they heard. And this person is still saying, however, they should not be misled. We're not misleading the person. If there was some sort of misleading going on, I would pick up on that really quick. But, yeah, they're thinking you don't know what you're dealing with which a lot of times you have to really question that to question your safety and what's actually going on. But I don't feel any sort of threat, nothing negative. I feel like everything went really well, and I'm glad that those messages came through for you.
And knowing my parents, they so would not mind. You know, this would not be disrespectful for them. They would be very thrilled that I even tried to call them, you know. They would love it. Trust me, it would no disrespect at all, quite the opposite. They find it very respectable.
Yes.
Knowing them, I know them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it necessarily with anybody else, but with my folks, I know that they would just they love when I call, you know. Call more, you know. So that would be a thrill for them.
For sure.
not at all disrespectful. Quite the opposite. That would show them great respect, and they'd be very proud, to be honest with you, that I shared them with all of you, you know.
I think they'd be quite amazed that we could make a contact like that.
I think they're pretty amazed now. They're pretty awestruck, you know. If we did get through to them, they're probably elated, you know, and wish that maybe they would, you know, have a regular phone date, maybe.
Right.
You know. 1 o'clock. Don't forget to call. Don't forget to write. You know. You know. Can you send me some money, guys?
Come back now. You hear?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for doing that for me. Love you so much.
Welcome. Yeah,
I love you too, Daryl, and I'm very sorry for your loss. I know that's very hard and difficult, but she did have a very long life, and I know she's happy right now, and you tried, so don't feel guilty in any way. We all have that survivor's guilt that comes through. Just know that you were there for her, and you took care of her, and you were there for her in the very end, trying to bring her back, and she knows this, and she's happy where she's at.
And we had a very good chat 2 days ago, and she was very lucid. She came through, like, you know, she told me how much she loved me and that I was a really good daughter and that I was also a really good person. And my father said that to me, too, once right before he died. He said it to my ex-husband because he wasn't really that nice to me at that point. He says, whatever reason you married my daughter, you should know that she's not just my daughter, but she's a really good human being. He was sticking up for me. He was so sweet, my father. He was so hurt that my husband was so close to me. But anyway, that's all behind now. But they said pretty much the same thing, and that meant a lot to me. You know, and we had our moments, so, like, I don't regret, like, my father, too. I said everything I had to say to him before he died, except the conversation I wanted to have. What if there's something, you know, he wouldn't go there. He's like, he wouldn't even talk about it. I just said, I want to sign. He wouldn't even let me say that. He's like, forget about it. You live, you die, that's it, goodbye. That's what he said. As soon as you accept that, the better off you'll be. He wouldn't even talk about it. But other than that, we had said everything else. But he talked to me after, so it was okay, you know. That was the only conversation we never got to have. But, you know, he came through big time for me, you know. And he still does. He still does. If I need something, if I need my keys, I'll ask my dad. And as long as I ask for them, it's almost instant. I'll find whatever I'm looking for. Sometimes I ask Jesus, too. So it's either Jesus or my father. But, you know, you just have to ask. You know, if you don't ask, you know, you never know, right? So it always pays to ask.
Well, I'm so glad you called in, and I hope that you get a good message from what I picked up and from other people in the chat room as well.
Thank you so much. I'm on a different computer, so I'm trying to get my history just so I could pull back up your site.
And always remember, our archives are on YouTube under Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
Okie doke. I'm just going to check the sound on both of them to make sure that I can get all the best quality. I'll check both, though. But thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'll check that out. Thanks again.
Thanks, Daryl. You have a good night, and know that we're all sending love and light to you and healing thoughts and prayers.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for being there.
No worries. You have a good night, Daryl.
Yes, have a good night. Take care.
Have a great night. Bye now.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. And if anyone else out there, we have T-minus, let's say, 21 minutes and counting. Let's say 20 minutes and counting. You can call in at 970-335-9596 and try to get a reading from our ghost box, which is very accurate. And I kept getting this stuff from this person in the chat room over on Periscope talking about we're kind of opening up evil to these people and taking advantage and making them think certain things. But Bill, I know that you take certain precautions. We take certain precautions on this side. We tell everybody else listening to take precautions. So we're trying to cover all of our bases, and we always get really good open answers from the other side for our listeners who call in for answers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in regards to that person writing those comments, I would say that, you know, we're very respectful in what we're doing tonight. So, and again, people call in, they're in a sense giving us permission to contact their loved ones. So otherwise, I wouldn't be contacting them elsewise until someone gives me permission.
So true. And we have a caller here from area code 425. Who are we talking to?
We're talking to Robin.
Hey, Robin, how's it going?
It's going good.
Hello, Robin.
I was this one might be kind of hard because it's not for a loved one. It's for someone else. It's actually for an actor because I am thinking about acting. And the person is called Peter Cushing. So do you think you could probably try to contact him?
Well, I normally don't do celebrities in general. I've always kept that as a rule, Robin. That's it's difficult in regards to that, but I mean, at the same time, I do try to uphold a certain standard.
Okay.
I would suggest other means of trying to, if you want to communicate through maybe finding a local medium in your area. Unfortunately, I just, like I said earlier in the show, I just don't communicate, make that effort on celebrities per se. It's just something I don't do.
Well, I just came in, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just not into doing that. I feel that's, to some degree, can be unethical, so I tend not to go down that route.
Well, do you think you could probably talk to my grandfather, Ronald Hansen?
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, we can try that. So, Ronald Hansen, okay? Hello? I got Robin on the other side. Wants to get a hold of his grandfather. Are you there? Robert Hansen?
Fine.
I have Robin who wants to get a message from you. Do you have a message for him? What would be your message there? Are you at peace there? You doing okay? What would you like to tell Robin? You have something of importance? you have something in particular you want to tell Robin. Okay, well, we thank you for communicating. Goodbye. Okay. So how did that go there, Robin?
I'll probably have to listen to the archives. Just to just like what Daryl said.
Yeah, well, a lot of times are you doing it, okay, listening through your cell phone system?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes your audio is harder to pick up on stuff. So, yeah, I suggest going into the audio files after the archives of the show, and also wear headphones, too. That's always an important thing when you're listening to, like, Ghostbox sessions and EVPs and stuff. It's you'll hear things a lot better, half-decent quality of headphones.
All right, thanks.
Okay, you take care.
You too.
We've always had great success working together, trying to find these messages from the Ghost Box to share with each other. So make sure you always look in the chat room after you're reading from the Ghost Box to see what all of us had heard.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much, Sir Robin.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
No,
okay,
go ahead,
care.
Candoey.
Okay, I'd just like to mention that that's really good by doing stuff like that. Everybody kind of working together subjectively, listening and then recording, writing down or typing what you might have heard. So what I always say is look for the intelligent responses. Look at what I'm saying and are they communicating back with some kind of intelligent response?
Okay.
Well, good night, Sir Robin. It was so great to hear from you and hear your question.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good night. And in the chat room, we had people asking different questions. One person asked, is OJ guilty? Is there any way to pick up on that from Nicole or the other victim? I can't remember his name right now. And I know that's another celebrity sort of case. Is there any way to ask that question and get an answer, or should we move on to a different question?
Well, the individuals that he affected basically weren't celebrities per se, as far as I know. I mean, again, he was well known, but his acts caused the deaths of other people, unfortunately.
So it's fair game. We can go there and try to get answers.
I would say it was fair game. Yeah, I would say it's fair game.
Let's do it. Let's do it to it. Okay, so the question was, did OJ really do it? So we're asking Nicole, and gosh, I can't believe I can't remember this poor guy's name. He was so nice. But we're asking Nicole and her friend that brought her glasses back that night, did OJ actually do it?
Yeah. Well, we'll focus on Nicole because I can't really, it's been a little while, but I can't remember the guy's name that was tragically taken.
Yeah, it's so sad, and I feel bad that I can't remember his name, but I'm thinking of both of them. But yeah, if Nicole could come through and let us know, she would know, number one. He probably wouldn't know who the heck that was.
Okay, let's try. I think I'm going to move over to the other radio here.
Okay, no worries.
I have a question regarding O.J. Simpson. Was he totally guilty of taking Nicole's life in the Los Angeles area? Is he truly guilty of what he was accused of? O.J. Simpson?
She donated a kidney, and then to be normal. There better be.
Is Nicole there? Does she have something to say about O.J. Simpson? Okay, well, we thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, it didn't seem that too much was coming through there.
I actually heard a woman talking over the kush, 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 kush. Like, she was talking the whole time, and I was like, holy crap. Is anybody else hearing this? And I'm not familiar with Nicole's voice. I don't know if that was her, but this woman was talking over the like the whole time.
Oh, I did hear that, but it was hard to make out what she was saying.
Let me scroll up and see. I got some of it, but I kind of froze up for a second. I was like, are you serious? What the heck is going on here? I got, F you, punks. Why the F? Virgin, that's just stubborn. Talk about it. Fill these. And then fill the names. Came from the same voice before me, and remember, he did this for sure. I am a mother. And I didn't see what other people had gone with. He's the man who killed me, remember. Okay, so Lynn got the whole remember thing too. I got fill the names before me. He heard he is the man who killed me. So they kind of sound the same. Marlena said, I remember, I know nothing. Chuck Bam said he was not available. Kimmy said, I just heard he better be as well. It better be, said Marlena. Indigo Sungirl heard, I already heard liable. Marlena said, there you go, my memory as holding Ron Goldman? Yes, that was his name. Ron Goldman.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. I wasn't sure.
I could not remember. I felt so bad. Thank you so much for doing that, Marlena, because I could not remember, and I felt so bad because it was such an easy name, but I'm so bad with names. I can remember a face, but names are difficult for me. Marlena said, of course he's guilty. Chuck Bam, maybe he reincarnated. And then we go back into Robin's questions. So we're getting a lot of that he did do it. Let me see if I get anything else here. Nikki said, oh yes, there was. Kimmy J said, I heard a woman too. I heard a woman over the ksh, ksh, ksh. She's like, just keeps talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, at first I froze up. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Is somebody else on the line? And then I realized this is the same person saying stuff. So I started typing it down. Kimmy J said, hey Ron, Great White North A. Nikki said it was her, holy cow. Nikki said she recognized the voice. It was her. That is so awesome.
Really? Wow. Yeah, because I remember parts of the trial and that was, it was so televised back then too that he basically got off on the criminal charges, but then he got hit with all the civil charges, I believe, through civil court.
Yeah, I think he got away with the criminal court, but the civil charges did stick, but he carried on with his life because he didn't have to go to prison over those. And then later on, he just kept over and over and over again proving his guilt, getting more and more aggressive towards people that he wasn't physically or emotionally attached to, people that had, aka his belongings, so on and so forth, breaking into their rooms, threatening them with guns, and getting arrested for being like, this is my property, and thinking he has the right to take it back, which in reality, he really didn't. So he made a big boo-boo there, thinking, hey, I got away with murder twice at once, how about this? But it didn't work out this time. Holy shnikes, that's a lot to kind of rope in. And that voice that I heard, I'm pretty sure that was hers. And Nikki said it was, but she was sitting there just talking over every ksh, ksh, ksh. She just continued to talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm like, are you freaking serious right now? I have not heard that so far on this show. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It was a little hard for me to try to see what was being said there at my end, but obviously, when it's getting played through the system here, some people might pick up on things that she was saying.
Yeah, and I think like we were talking about earlier, we all hear a little something different. But surprise, surprise, we're at the end of our time. Hey, if you can let our listeners know, Mr. Candoey, how to get a hold of you, your YouTube, your Facebook, your Instagram, wherever else to find you and get more information from you. Can you share that with us?
Well, the best way is to put in my name or just Candoey, Candoey at Google, and a lot of stuff will come up. You'll see my Facebook, you'll see things to do with social media, but also YouTube, and I have an audio library out there as well, so people can listen to highlights of sessions that I've done. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways that they can get a hold of me. Google me is the easiest way.
Well, that's awesome, and I want to thank you so much, Mr. Bill Hauser, for being my guest tonight. It was wonderful having you on the show this evening.
Well, thank you, too. It was great. I enjoyed coming back again.
And I hope to have you back again in the future because I always do appreciate what you're doing, and I really have a great time with you.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you to everyone in Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, and TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else in the universe you're listening tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, literally and figuratively, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend on spacedoutradio.com. Emperors offering you 7 wonders, promising the deepest thunder. We'll tell you you're the perfect girl. We'll crawl for miles through the sand to win your hand and be your man. You guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you back here this next weekend. Until next time, nighty night, love and light to all my space cases out there and my SOR Asylumist. I can't wait to see you again this next weekend. And don't forget, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we own the night. If you guys would like to come into the after party, we are having one this evening. The number is 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596. I hope to see you guys there. If I don't, take care of my yous, and I'll see you back here next weekend. Night, night, love and light.
Good night.